Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 7:00 p.m. Can we stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic and the nation and indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Katie, thank you for standing at home. That's so cute.
Oh, sure.
Hey, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, and Mayor, just note the one change, swapping out the Westech contract, which is item 6E with the updated contract.
So noted. I'll add it to my
6E.
motion.
Okay. All right, we just need a second.
I seconded it.
All right, go, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Uh, Agendas approved. Presentations, proclamations, visitors. Is there any public comment? Anyone online? No. No visitors tonight for presentation?
We don't have any speaker cards. Is there anybody that wants to address the council?
So moving on to the consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Number 4, public hearing, we have none. Old business, we have none. New business. We have a few items. Starting with Boone Well number 3, Mill Creek Well number 1 drilling project contract.
All right, so last meeting, we brought to you guys the notice to award for Boone Well 3 and Mill Creek 1 well. You now have the contract, so you guys hopefully reviewed the contract, and if you guys have any questions, nothing's changed. It's just Jones Drilling's information. They've signed the contract, their bonding information, and so once you guys approve, the city can sign the contracts and finish executing those.
So we just need a motion.
Move to approve the contract to Jones Drilling Company in the amount of $516,680 for the drilling of Boone 3 and Mill Creek 1 wells from Fund 028 Water Improvement Fund.
Any discussion? Okay, so go ahead and vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All those against? There are none. No abstentions? Motion passes.
All right, one thing I guess I should have mentioned too, we did have Business Oregon look at the contracts. They've approved them. They're saying that everything's good for reimbursement on those contracts. The next one is the Public Works Shop and Office Building. Again, council approved a notice to award to RA Gray for the Public Works Shop and Office. The contracts now are in front of you, same thing. Nothing's changed. It just includes RA Gray's information, their bonding. Yeah, and they've signed the contract, so they'll be ready for city signatures once you guys approve.
Had funding approve it too, right?
Yep, the funding's been all approved and
Well, we haven't signed contracts yet, but we've gotten an approval for them.
Okay.
I think part of that was sending the executed contract over to them. as
Yeah,
well.
and I just so that I can get on the record for the audio, but yeah, we still haven't had the funding contract signed, but Business Oregon did award the funding, so we feel confident moving forward.
I'll move to approve the contract between RA Gray Construction LLC and the city of Aumsville for $1,874,425 for the construction of a new public works shop and office building.
Seconded.
Any discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? There's none. Abstentions? There's none. Motion passes. Going on to C. City Aumsville, park expansion.
Park expansion, that's different. I don't know where the,
Second yellow tab if yours is set up like ours, Ron.
my tabs, I think my tabs got.
Oh.
My tab fell off. Okay, well, I can tell you this project. So what this is to hire a consultant, which is Winterbrook Planning, to help us put together a buildable land inventory and housing needs analysis. And then use that information to apply for an application to apply to the state to expand our UGB to include the park property that we purchased, which currently is outside the city's urban growth boundary. And as council remembers, a few years ago, some of you were on the council, we actually approved this project back in 2018 to hire a consultant, which at the time was the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments. And they were working on this project and they had a number of staffing changes. Their director left. The director of planning ended up taking another position and leaving. The planner that we had associated with the project left. And so the project kind of got stalled, passed around. We actually worked on it quite a bit. We had a number of public hearings. We did quite a little bit of work through a technical advisory committee and putting all of the pieces together. And as we got close to the end, what we found out was we had conflicts in the reports and the inventories. And we weren't able to reconcile those conflicts with the information that we knew or that we had that was known. So we ended up having to cancel the project because what we didn't want to do is file something with the state that seemed to be in conflict with the information that we knew. I had Winterbrook Planning, which we have them as a sub-consultant right now for planning services. They recently had 2 successful UGB applications, one with the city of Sublimity and the other one with the city of Turner. So they have a very good track record. And I asked them to look over to see if they came to the same conclusions that we came to, and they did. They said that had we submitted that way, we would have had some issues. And I don't know that it was anybody's fault. I think we just had people that didn't have the experience in that particular field. We're kind of throwing this work to get it done. And I think it was just, luckily we caught all the little nuances and were able to identify it was a flawed project. So we canceled that project with them, and now we'd like to reissue it with Winterbrook Planning. They are currently helping to consult with our park master plan project and do our comprehensive plan updates. So that when we bring that park master plan, we'll also bring in the state required comprehensive plan updates simultaneously. And all of that work will help feed into this. But Unfortunately, that we would have loved to have that park in by now. But I still think it's worth us taking another run at it with Winterbrook planning. We did put money in this fiscal budget to be able to do this project. Happy to answer.
Just picking up where the other place left off, or are they starting all over?
They're pretty much going to start all over again because, you know, you don't know where the errors are. So you could go, you have to do basically a lot by lot inventory of every lot in the city, its current use, what it's zoned for. And then there's a formula that you use to do the needs analysis that's based on the Portland State University population projections. And that's already set in stone by the state. And then you make a determination of needs. And when we did some work back in 2017. And back in 2017, our needs analysis showed we needed somewhere between, I think it was like 40 and 70 acres of single family residential. The conclusion that this report came out with last year, or the numbers showed last year, we didn't actually have a report that went anywhere. But the numbers that they had concluded showed that we didn't need any single family residential. We actually needed multifamily, which was completely opposite to what we know here on the ground. So we just could not use that data. We couldn't file it. There was a lot of effort to have it filed with the state as is, just to get the park project done. But I think that would have done the city a disservice later for our residential work. So we did coordinate with the mayor, council president, which is our current mayor at the time, our planning commission chair. So we didn't just end it. We got together and discussed the impacts of that and then ended up ending the project. Yeah.
Thanks for the note.
Yeah, most consultants won't do that. They want to confirm everything themselves. So
We just need a motion.
yes,
Move to approve the professional service scope for the East Side Park expansion project and the amount of $25,000.
Second.
Seconded.
Any discussion? So all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? There is none. Abstentions? None. Motion passes. Okay, so moving on to D. Wastewater collection system design proposal, Westech Engineering. That is the updated printout that we got handed an email before.
Just for the record, my name is Matt Etzel. I'm the Assistant Public Works Director. The proposal that you guys have in the binders, the correct one, the updated one is for the well drilling
Oh,
construction.
that's right. Thank you.
Yep.
Not this one.
So we have a proposal from Westech to design the collection system improvements that were in our facility, or that are in our facilities plan. The reason why we're doing this is if there's any funding opportunities out there with some additional ARPA funds, these would be shovel-ready projects that we could get started on and fund without having to lump into the wastewater treatment plant project. Or if we get a funding source, we could be ready to do those projects as well. So if you guys have any questions, I'm willing to answer them.
I don't have any questions. Do you guys have questions? We just need a motion.
Yes.
I move to approve the proposal for the wastewater collection system improvement design and engineering services by Westech with a not to exceed amount of $121,000 from Fund 019-604 sewer improvement.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Motion passes. Okay, now moving on to E, the water supply well project construction services.
Yes, so you guys got an updated proposal from Westech, which also includes their sub-consultant GSI's proposal. It includes the ARPA clauses. So when we did the council packet, we had the proposal from Westech, and this work is being funded through the Business Oregon grants that we received for the water system improvements. And all of any reimbursements that we're requesting, we're having Business Oregon review the proposals and contracts before we do that to make sure that they meet all of their requirements and that we will be reimbursed for them. And Friday afternoon, they sent me an updated what they needed, and that was updated, and that's why it's in front of you now. So the construction services are going to be Westech and GSI basically being on site and working with the well driller. That way, if there's as they're drilling, if there's any soil conditions that change, they can make those adjustments on the fly, either stop the drilling or, maybe stop it early if we come to water earlier or deeper than what we need to. They're all up to speed on that stuff a lot better than we are, and be able to make some decisions for the city that could benefit us.
Does anyone have any questions? So we just need a motion.
Yes.
I move to approve the proposal for the water supply well project construction services by Westech with a not to exceed amount of $125,000 from Fund 028836 with the corrected contract with the added ARPA language.
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Get everyone's vote. Okay. All those opposed? No opposed? Any abstentions? No abstentions, motion passes.
Thank you.
So moving on to F, Corn Festival Grand Marshal nominees.
So council asked us to do a little community outreach and to take in some suggestions. Council themselves also sent in some suggestions. I think we did a Facebook post. And we have a list of names there for you to consider. Now, you're not obligated to pick any of those particular names, but we wanted to give you some choices.
I would like to mention, I just learned that the Cascade boys won the state basketball championship. So we've done honorary marshals for our previous winning team, so we probably should do that one as well as the honorary.
It's completely within your discretion.
I don't know. I don't know what that looks like.
So like when the girls softball team won, we had honorary marshals and they rode on a float.
Instead of the,
No,
Oh.
in addition to.
in addition, okay.
Yeah,
They provided their own vehicle.
Yeah.
In the past, I think they've walked behind a vehicle, and then I think in the past, they may have been on a trailer that they provided.
Okay.
so, but we just have to talk to the school and say we'd like them to participate and be an honorary marshal and.
I like that idea. I mean, if we've done it in the past, anytime we can get the kids in there.
Give them a little applause for their hard work.
What do you guys think?
I agree.
So then, if you're going to do that, I would suggest that you select one name for the Grand Marshal.
Mhm.
Just because it starts to get diluted when you have, too many people. And then logistically, we have to figure all that stuff out. What does that look like? But of course, it's strictly up to you.
So it's one name from this list and then they would be, okay.
So did they submit reasons for?
I don't think we got big write-ups, but I could speak to most of the people on the list. See if I have my,
So we have, do you want me, I have the list.
It's the very last one before 7, the last 2 pages. Mhm. Oh, sorry, it's on the agenda.
On the
That's where I saw
agenda,
it.
yeah,
oh, it's just on the agenda.
yes,
Okay.
so we have,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't have a list there. So, well, Deanna. So we know Deanna was actually mentioned as a person, and she's been volunteering for a long time in the community. She does she got her own thing going. She had actually started the Corn Festival Rock. What do we call that? The Rock Find. Okay, and that's been going on for quite a few years. She organizes that. This year, she's actually taking on the princesses, but it's the Rock Fairy Princesses, not the Corn Festival. Yeah, so we're calling it something a little bit different, and she's just taken that on kind of under her wing, and so she's doing a lot of stuff in the community. Rico Diaz, Rosario, sorry. She works a lot with the migrant communities through Cascade School District, and we actually coordinate with her a lot for different community service programs. I don't know a whole lot about what she does in the school district. I don't know, maybe Angie, you can add to that a little
so
bit.
she's the liaison for migrant education, which is not just immigrant Latino based. It's basically any family that has to move to do work within certain agricultural industries. She is the liaison for the school district with people from working with families that have toddlers, preschool, all the way through 21 who are still trying to finish their high school diploma and get into camp. She does everything from being like a resource hub for families in the school district, and within the majority of them come from within Aumsville, actually, and just outside of the city limits as well. And then she does everything from like crafting and helping people integrate within the community and providing lists of resources, kind of like networking with other organizations like SIT, from everything from school supplies to housing to emergency services to maybe just trying to get a doctor's referral, and everything in between. It's kind of hard to pinpoint. And she used to be a resident in town as well. Yeah.
And usually people that are engaged like that, we don't know all the stuff they do because they're into so much, you just couldn't track it all.
Katie just raised her hand.
Oh, sorry, Katie.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to say that she is also our contact for the Exchange Club in helping us find those families who may be in need of a meal for Christmas or Thanksgiving. So she's helped us a couple of years with that. So
excellent.
She'd be a good candidate, my opinion.
Okay, Colleen Rogers, she actually got the most nominations from different people. Colleen is our former clerk, and oh my gosh, Colleen's done so much. It would be hard for me to even to think it all, but she has been in charge of Saturday Market for many years, organizing it, volunteering for it, getting vendors. She's done the Corn Festival vendors. since we took it over, but prior to the city taking over organization of Corn Festival, she was our liaison with the Corn Festival Board and worked with them on just keeping everybody on task and coordinating with the city efforts. The Aumsville Community Theater, she's been a big part of that, and the different plays and stuff that they've done, and getting those plays here in Aumsville. For many years, it was in this facility right here because I didn't have anything else. Trying to think of all the stuff she's done. She's done a lot. So Colleen would certainly be a worthy choice. And as you know, she recently retired after 15 years with the city. Our former chief Schmitz, again, longstanding employee, 20 years. He kind of led the Project Santa, where they would get the toy drive and then they would get toys and they'd take and deliver those to families. His department led the Christmas, the Santa visits around town. Before we would do the Christmas event every year. They've done fundraisers like No Shave November, National Night Out, where we go out into the community and greet folks. So he's done quite a little bit in the community. And then Mid-Columbia Bus Company. I mean, we all know what they do, right? They're the transportation hub for the school district. I don't know specific things about them, but they were nominated. So
Those last two aren't on, so we only have the first three.
Okay.
Down underneath. Next
There's
line.
Mine has all of them.
Oh my gosh, I put my glasses back on.
okay.
We have them now?
It's one of those nights, Angie, don't worry.
And so what I would suggest is maybe pick a primary and an alternate, because we'll want to make sure that we ask and that they want to accept it. Not everybody wants to do it, so.
I just do want to point out that Deanna, with the Rockberry Princess stuff, she started that out of her own pocket, like, and it's grown and the community has really responded to that. I nominated 4 of the 5 that are on this list. So if you guys want to talk about, I would love to hear what you guys have to say.
Mentioned from the audience that she's really busy that day with her princesses. So I think she's saying, please no.
I love, but I.
So your princesses aren't going to be in the parade? Oh, okay, okay. So you're going to be on a float. So the float could say, okay.
It's for the
Okay,
girls.
okay, okay.
I would like either one, either Colleen or Rocio. Did I say that right? Rocio, okay. Yeah, either one would be great with me.
So we.
Yeah, they're all good. They're all good choices. They really are.
Would be nice.
We did a couple years ago have
3.
and two showed up. I would prefer just to pick one if we're gonna have the kids, because then it gets pretty complicated. But I don't know.
It's kind of hard to pick one employee over the other, though.
So
My thought between just honoring both of those retired employees.
I mean, if we put them both in the same vehicle, might not be bad.
I would like to do that too.
I like it.
For former chief and Colleen.
Yeah.
And then the kids.
Everybody.
Have a party.
Nico, we haven't heard from you.
I think it's a wonderful combo, honestly.
Colleen and former chief.
Yep, I agree.
I think we have a consensus.
Okay, all we need is a consensus, so we're good. Thank you. Okay, will you get, Della, can you email me the information about the sports team?
Yes,
Okay, I just don't want to forget it.
I can do that.
Okay, thank you. All right.
All right, and then we're moving on to letter G, multi-jurisdictional letter, sign-on request from Marion County.
Yeah, so we received this request from Marion County. Typically, the types of things that we get requested from other agencies are grant application supports, letter requests, and we typically do that just as a courtesy. So those things don't come before council. In this particular case, it feels a little political policy. So it wouldn't be anything that I would sign on your behalf, but I did want to bring it before you and let you have discussion. And basically this has to do with a concern that the Marion County has raised on the policies related to administering, I think, the state hospital. And maybe somebody else on the council is more in tune to the inner workings of that than I am, but it basically they would just like to make a statement of some things that they suggest that might help that administration of services work more efficiently. And they've reached out to all the jurisdictions asking that we basically sign on to this letter and drum up support. And so honestly, that's as much as I know. I didn't generate this letter. I'm not immersed in the subject that Marion County is trying to address here, but it just seems like there's some rules that are being made to maybe from an administrative standpoint, but because Marion County offers a lot of these types of services and they interact a lot, I think they're seeing some negative effects from some of those rules.
I completely agree with everything that they're asking for. But I kind of think it's their political.
I can't be a part of this. I myself, as conflict of interest, for me, I am the organizer at the Oregon State Hospital. This affects the people that I represent and the working conditions. So I will let you guys talk about it.
Yeah, I think they're needed, but I think that's their responsibility.
Yeah, and there's nothing that stops you from making a political, or I wouldn't say this is political. I think this is policy. But there's nothing that stops council from supporting a policy document with another jurisdiction, but that's something council would have to approve because they're also asking for us to attach our logo, and we don't let our logo, we have a rule that our logo can't be used for any purposes without permission from the council, so.
Are you needing an answer on this?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, if you guys want to support something for our new council members, you guys, we've done this before in the past month. We did it with our letter of support for the bond for the school district.
Yep.
That type of stuff.
We also weighed in on the chicken
Yep.
ranch, the chicken farm. So these are policy type statements and, as a group, I mean, this is close enough. This is local enough to where it's probably a more appropriate than, let's say, a national, issue that we'd be weighing in on.
What they're saying is correct about people charged with felonies walking off of restorative services and disappearing. That means they're disappearing into our communities. So, so if we support it, they're asking that they not reduce the amount of time they're given restorative services. That's what they're asking us for. So I think that those kind of decisions should not be made necessarily by a judge. It needs to be made by the people who are treating it.
Nico's reading the theme.
So I can't really speak to necessarily any other instances where anyone may run into this, but I do know that it's been impacting our clinic as far as some folks that just, they already have mental issues, and then you couple that with substance issues, and just between that and of course, the measure that was voted on by the citizens regarding folks are cited for drug use, entering treatment. I think those are the big drivers behind why the county's asking for our support on this, because just the support systems aren't there. And we're even struggling at our clinic to get the support systems needed for veterans that need that special help. And so and we definitely encounter even just everyday people in addition to veterans that kind of camp out in our parking lot or at our doorstep because they don't have anywhere to go. They don't know where to go. And it's definitely put a strain overall on the judicial system, obviously. And I normally am not a big fan of signing off on things like this, but I think just given the situation, there obviously needs to be some dialogue with our executive branch and with the judiciary regarding how to best handle this. So I mean, I'd feel comfortable if we could support this, because that dialogue obviously needs to happen. But I mean, obviously, I will support whatever the rest of the council would like to do.
I would like to support it.
So it sounds like there's a consensus, at least amongst the council, to support it, but I'd like to get a motion to support Marion County's letter.
We get a motion.
I move that we support Marion County's letter regarding the state hospital and as well as overall mental health and correction as it was sent to us.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those
Aye.
opposed? All those opposed? And I am abstaining, so we have one abstention. Motion passes.
Excellent. So this came in by the way of correspondence. This isn't in your packet, but what this is Marion County also has an open position for an elected official on the Public Safety Coordination Council. And this packet that I have is the information on the council and the application. I will forward this to you in an email later today, but I wanted to just bring it to your attention. If anybody's interested in applying to serve on the council, I think they've got 1 or 2 positions open. So they're taking in applications. They asked us to extend an invitation to our mayor and council. Not that you don't have enough to do, but if
I
it
would
is,
be interested in.
if you are interested, you could take this packet, Doug, but I'll email it to everybody else as well. So that's
Don't have the bandwidth. I encourage you guys to, I already sit on a different council for Oregon Correctional Enterprises. So, and I know Della sits on a couple different councils. If you guys have the bandwidth to do it, there's so many great opportunities. I don't, so.
yeah. Okay. Excellent. All right. And then the next thing is a little fun thing. We put some pictures in your packet of the water tank. There you go. And we came up with some designs. Now, these would not, whatever we end up doing here tonight would not be a final design, but we wanted to show you some samples to get maybe a push in a direction to work towards something a little bit more creative or final. And one is just our simple city logo that's up there. We'd probably, if we were to go with this, we'd probably take the outline off and feather out the edges a little bit. But just that simple logo is one option. As you know, in our vision plan, one of the things that we call for in the vision plan is immersing art within new infrastructure projects. And these tanks are a big, blank canvas. And so we wanted to come up with some art. And so we did something that was more kind of fun, corn festival, a little more in your face. The little trees, we actually always like that. Now, we put the logo on top, but in my mind, I envision that being taller trees without the logo probably, just so it looks more like a forest. And then you paint the color of the tank kind of coordinated with the sky. And then the last one is one, some of our office staff, actually, they came up with all of these, but we were like, okay, we really like, let's say we like this logo with the clouds on there, but we want to somehow incorporate corn. So they kind of did like some hidden corn clouds. Now that was met with some mixed reviews, but I think it is kind of subtle and I like it. So we just wanted to get some feedback from you. Again, we've got time. We'll be working on some different designs, but is there anything in here that you like, completely hate?
I don't dream of corn, but that's what I think about the clouds. I think it's hilarious. I like the forest with just the way it is. I don't know what you guys like, but
I like the forest too.
I like the forest, but I actually would love to see if we get the kids in the community, like the middle school, or not the middle school, the elementary school. See what they like.
See what they like?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like maybe
we could put some samples together and maybe do some visits.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like
Does
the
this
corn with
last
the
if you
trees.
paint this logo and all these trees and all that?
Well, it's supposed to be quite a while. It's an enamel paint. So I think it's probably got, the same type of a life expectancy of the coating of the tank.
The epoxy coating, the life on those are around 50 years. Now,
So it's something we like, right?
Yeah.
depending on the style of tape that we end up with, it may be kind of like like a police car, like that, basically like a sticker. And those are like a 15 to 20 year life, so we have to, redo it in 15 to 20 years, depending on how it weathers, but.
Yeah.
So-
Police car.
Can you repeat that on the mic so that Katie and Nico can hear that, the 50 to 25 years?
Oh, yeah. So Matt was just saying the life expectancy of a wrap is 15 to 20 years. And that's one option. And then, if it's painted, I think that life shelf is probably a little closer to 30. But it could be longer. It just depends on how the tank's weathered. And then there's two different styles of tanks. And I think we're going to put both of them in our proposal and do a bid and an alternate bid. And one is a welded steel tank. That's what we currently have there. And then the other is a steel bolted tank. And their names kind of speak for how they're put together. And so depending on which of those two that you go with, that could kind of alter the design too, because one's going to be a little bit smoother and you have to inspect those welds every year. But yeah, we'll go ahead and play with the designs, but nothing here that you guys are like, we got to have that one, but you do like the trees.
I do.
Okay.
Go for the trees.
So,
Yep.
so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and play around with the designs a little, refine them a little bit more, and then we'll come back to you, and then maybe we'll do a little summer outreach program, or we'll have time, I think, before it.
Katie has her hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Katie, you have your hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment on these, and that when I look at the forest one, I really love it, but I feel like it's like wishful thinking because we're not in a forest. So that's kind of
There's a tree right next to it.
We are the gateway to the canyon. I look at Aumsville like we're the gateway to
Oh,
the
okay.
canyon. And like, there's
Okay.
like, that's, I don't, that's just my
There's a
opinion.
fir tree in the picture right next to it, Katie.
Oh, well,
Well-
that's true.
But I do love
Okay.
I love the point, like, they're cute.
Well, I actually did this design on a tank in another city and it had a forest as a backdrop and it really did blend in really well. And the idea is you just don't want this big blue tank, right? You want it to be part of the community, not be something that just sits in the community. And so I definitely think it's worthy, but yeah, we'll do some outreach. We'll play with the designs and come back to you. Thank you. And then so, yeah, we don't have that stuff. So I guess just a quick heads up on the next two agenda items are going to be really heavy. We're going to have multiple public hearings, multiple ordinances. And so we'll have the budget hearing at the June 12th meeting. We'll also be approving the shared revenue action, which we're required to. As you know, all of our shared revenue that we get from the state just goes to our park fund. But we'll have to take that action. We'll have to approve our annual utility rate resolution as part of that. We've got a whole bunch of actions for the 12th. And then on the 26th, we'll be approving the park master plan, the comp plan amendments, the master communication ordinance, all of those House Bill 3115 ordinances. I think there's 3 that ordinance affects. We're finalizing those right now. So we're going to get we'll have that packet out early. We'll be trying to get all of those things done in one meeting, one action, meaning you're going to read those ordinances twice. And they most likely, all of them will have the emergency clause, which enacts them immediately instead of after 30 days. And part of the reason for that is because the master fee schedule, we have a couple of franchise agreements that expire the 30th of June. The master communication ordinance, I'm sorry. We have a bunch of franchise agreements that expire the end of June, and we want that to enact prior to enacting the franchise agreement renewals, which we'll do the same night, just later. The ordinances we have to have done by June 30th as part of statute, the ones that are related to House Bill 3115, which is related to encampments within city properties and city right-of-ways. So we're going to have a lot of those things, and that's going to be, it shouldn't drag for hours and hours, but you're going to have to go through each of those processes and it'll be a little laborious. So, and then, yeah, I think that's it. Everything's working out really well. Otherwise, business as usual is going well. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer. All right, that ends my report then.
So then we're moving on to mayor and councilor reports. I have a spoof email. It's actually going out. I got a couple messages on Facebook from community members. Just to be aware that like when you actually click on the email, it's not from the city, it's a made up email. So that's the only thing that I have to say. Anything for good of the order? None? Okay. We talked about our correspondence already and we have nothing further. So let's go ahead and end the meeting at 7:49.